Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. It's Q&A time. Go ahead and ask your questions. Unmute yourself, type in, go ahead and fire away.
And go ahead, Priya. Let's start us out.
Hey.
Hello, how are you?
Hey.
I'm calling for my friend. She's coming over in 2 days
Okay.
and wanted to do some practice, but she's been having some issues with her ears. I'm just gonna read out her message that she has sent through to me. So last year she told me that it started to feel a bit full in her one of the ears, but now it's both, and it feels like they're both closed. Sometimes she feels like there's something stuffed in them, and she says when I try to pinch when I try to blow the nose or yawn, she can feel something in her ears, like something stuck.
Hmm.
I don't know what's going on,
Yeah,
but
so
she
I
has.
mean, it's one of two things or a combination of the two. And so one is it could be excessive earwax. Like the wax will build up, and then when we're prone to like sinus issues or allergies, we actually produce more earwax than normal. That so
She's seen an ear ENT specialist and there was nothing. She
there's
reckons,
nothing in the air.
mm, nah, so she thinks it's something to do with diabetes type 2 that she's been diagnosed with. But that's just her personal research that she's been doing around it because it's been 1.5 year.
Okay,
1.5 year ago, it started from the left ear, now it's both. And but yeah, it's when she went to the ENT specialist, they checked everything, they could find nothing.
they can find nothing. So
No.
so one is potential earwax, and then the other one is like sometimes the tube gets like inflamed, and so it will kind of almost like contract a little bit. And there's no pain in the ear or anything like that.
She says that just feeling of
Right.
being
And
blocked,
is she
stuffed,
prone
full.
to allergies or anything like that?
Not really.
Okay.
No. The only
Okay.
thing yeah, it's the heat. She cannot handle heat too much.
The
But
heat makes it happen, huh?
yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it's usually more cold. Um, I mean, you could try it a couple different things. There's no magic bullet here, so you just have to start kind of treating. Like one of the things that, if it was wax, like there's the ear candling or coning and things like that. But if it's really impacted, sometimes that doesn't really even cut it. And so one of the old school tricks is to put a couple drops of olive oil in the air daily for a little bit. That helps to loosen up the wax. And then again, either falls out or you could do the coning and it will draw more out. And if you are doing the coning, it's better to get like really wide ones, not the ones that you just get at the health food store, but we get ours. I think they're called King Cone, like King Kong, but King Cone.
Mhm.
And they're much wider than normal. Um, I mean, that could be a thing. Um, the other trick with earwax is to lay on your side and put hydrogen peroxide in your ear. Just like pour a little bit, like with a dropper or a pipette or something like that. And then you leave it there until you stop hearing the bubbling sounds, and then get up and let the hydrogen peroxide come out your ear. So you kind of pat it with a towel and then do the other side. You'll probably need to do that a few times if it is wax. But the other thing is if it is like inflamed, um, I would do things like the black cumin over a period of time. Um, but one of the things that I have kind of played with is to take like something like Eucalyptus citrodora and then rub it all around like the ear, but especially below the ear and like, like right behind the jaw, like, like
Yeah.
all like in there. And you even
Mhm.
kind of just like stroke it like that. Um, Again, it's not a magic bullet, but I have one of my tubes is much smaller than the other side, and so I've always been really prone to one side of my head like will like clog up or whatever you want to call it. Like sometimes it might be wax, but it just if it gets a little bit inflamed, all of a sudden that ear just shuts down. And so
Yeah.
I play with different anti-inflammatories and different things will kind of work, but I really like the idea of Eucalyptus citrodora for that. And
Yeah.
not internal, just rub it all around the the side there. There is a chiropractic adjustment where they kind of go in the mouth and go down into the throat and make this little adjustment. I've tried to do it on myself and have made myself vomit twice. So I'm not going to suggest that part. you know
Uh,
and I wasn't
she's
successful. Like I made myself throw up and it didn't work. So
so she
that's where
did
I'd go
a
with that's where I'd go with that. I mean, always increasing things like quercetin can potentially have an impact on that as well, because sometimes even if we're not aware of like external forms of allergies, a person could still be having allergic issues, but not maybe super aware of it. So, it's always a thing to like treat just to see if it will impact it. It wouldn't have a fast result. It would take probably at least a couple of weeks of treatment for it to start to really show signs. You might see some signs after a few days, but still I'd treat it for a while.
Mm.
But if she does do that, probably like 2 or 3 tablets a couple of times a day. Like yeah, I would kind of hit the quercetin kind of hard just to see, So I mean, you'll have to experiment to see which one will be the thing that helps. But
Yeah.
for me, like I cone my ears and like I do the peroxide in my ears, and if I start getting where I start getting frustrated, like when I go to bed, when I lay down, it will close, but then when I get up, it will open. And so sometimes it drives me a little nuts. And so I'll start doing the olive oil and all of that again. And nothing's like amazing about it, but um, the ear coning, like if I do it consistently, is probably the thing that helps the most. But I find that if I use the olive oil or the peroxide consistently prior, that the ear coning works a lot better,
Yeah.
So
So she reached out yesterday and she said that she has a feeling from her research that from type 2 diabetes, maybe the veins, it's something funny going on with the veins, and could could that be something?
it would
I
still
don't
be
know
what
how
it would still be the inflamed part. Yeah, it would.
inflamed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if it's diabetes, if it's allergies, the thing with the diabetes is you usually need a lot more vitamin C in the body than
Mm.
the average person. And so again, that goes back to the breaking down of collagen, inflammation, and potentials for allergies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so she's gonna be here on Friday,
Mhm.
and I was thinking I mentally prepared her for a longer session and was thinking of doing the cultivating the regenerative state, the assemblage point segment, which is the 4 quadrants, and then
Mhm.
uh, materialization. No, there's one more before then, and then materialization breath, and then 3 brains, and then materialization breath,
Mhm.
and the last one. Would that help?
Probably not. But I
No?
mean, you can still do it, but it's probably not going to resolve a lot. Yeah.
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 With regards to protocols, is there something that she could practice with the oils that could maybe help
Rubbing that
release
stuff on.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rubbing that
yeah,
stuff on. Yeah.
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 That's fine. No
Yeah.
worries. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Lolly, then Chris.
Hey, Lolly.
Hey,
Hey.
oh my God, my mind is all over the place. Clearly tomorrow I'm not, yeah, I'm like in denial. So everything is not even
What's
ready.
happening?
I'm totally in denial about traveling tomorrow.
About
She's
what?
traveling to
Oh,
Korea
traveling. Oh,
Yeah,
traveling.
I'm totally in denial about that
Yeah,
situation.
yeah. You
Um,
Israel? You're going to Israel?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's why I texted you earlier. Yeah, so that's happening. I don't even have I'm not even feeling anything about it. I'm not happy, excited, upset. I don't even know what I am. I think based on my skin, it's mostly stress.
Yeah.
um there are a few things. Let's look at my skin really quick. I mentioned it last week,
Mhm.
that there was some stuff going on, and you said that it's probably stress. It looks a little bit worse. It's mostly like around the smile lines, a little bit other areas as well. I usually don't. It never looks so bad. I'm thinking it's stress, but
Yeah, you look super stressed.
because I also I start taking an iron supplement, but I don't think I don't think it's allergy.
No, it's probably stress.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The resolution for it is landing back in the US and having that trip behind you.
Yes, I know. Can we do that? Can we
You
fast
know,
forward to?
like that's the resolution.
Thank you.
It's like when women are pregnant, they're like, "What's gonna get rid of this back pain?" Is like having that baby. Like
Yeah,
that's gonna get rid of your back pain. You know?
exactly. So yeah, some.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
and it's 2 weeks, barely 2 weeks.
yeah.
I just a lot of things. So okay.
And things I mean I was following that stuff for so long and I haven't so much in the last few weeks. Things seem to have I
It's
mean they're not completely calm, but it's calmer than it was, right?
it's a little bit calmer, but then yesterday they had to run to the shelter again because I don't know, somebody threw something at them, and that's in
Okay.
Tel Aviv.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, and it's and I'm not running around and thinking to myself, "Oh, I'm stressed out," but yeah, and time management hasn't been well because it's not, I tend to procrastinate when it's something that I don't want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Um,
I would just take your basics. I think we've talked about like this when you were getting ready a while back.
yeah,
Benzoin and tarragon and those kinds of things, but whatever
yeah,
works for you for your stress levels that but
yeah.
you're in a situation, I don't know, like how we do that practice with like going deeper into the heart,
Mm-hmm.
like maybe try doing that. Like in the reason being that when the mind's left to its own devices, and when I say the mind, I mean anybody's mind. Like when it's left to its own devices, it's stressed out and really fear-based. It's kind of what it has to do to survive. And the thing that is the tempering effect there is the heart. And like in the way that we're wired, the mind was really it's really meant to be more of like I don't know. I don't even know the right words to say it. It's supposed to be more of like the servant rather than the boss.
Mm-hmm.
And culture and life and technology and everything, all of a sudden the mind is a little bit more the boss than the servant. And the tempering effect is, be it times of stress or times of fear or dealing with a traumatic event or whatever it might be, always go back to the heart. Like always just, when in doubt, go back to the heart. And as much as I say this right now, I still forget it sometimes. And I'll be like, this, that. And then, I'll struggle with it for a couple of days and then I start doing the practice again. And God, why didn't I do that before? And so it will temper the mind, it will help the mind. For me, like sometimes I even, the idea of like using Melissa kind of helps that. When I start to get like a little too in my head, I use Rose.
That's
Melissa is better for like the emotional component. Rose is like for me, like it really helps my mind. Like it just helps my mind be like chill and flexible and you know, just kind of helps it to go with the flow. And so I would say you could do that. You could take it internal, or you could do that pattern of the basic, then the front solar plexus, then back solar plexus, and then ajna, and then crown, and then do that repetitively. That should be helpful.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, and what I wanted to ask really, because even on the weekend you talked about Rose, so a few things I want. So basically, any Rose, I've Rose
any of them.
Absolute.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So any, and then
Because the Rose Absolute it's the absolute of Damascus. It's the Damascus rose is a steam distillation, and the notes are much softer. They're a lot lighter. Rose Absolute is a lesser expensive. It's the same plant, but it's a different extraction practice. But it's a bit of a heavier note, and it's kind of like what you would think of what rose smells like. Smells like the Absolute. So it's like when I say it's heavier, it's just more like bam, it's just there. Where the other ones, the Alba and the Damascus, they're much more refined. They're a little bit more of a whisper, where the Absolute is a little bit more in your face. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times, especially when you're doing breathing practices, I have people use the Absolute. It's significantly cheaper, and the scent registers like much easier, like much easier. Yeah.
Okay. And then and internally it's pretty much the same. Or
Yeah.
it's still gonna
Internal,
be.
I would actually, just because Absolute is not distillation, it's more of a they use a chemical to extract it, and then they cook the chemical off. And so I mean, I still have taken Absolutes internal, but I would say don't do it long term.
Okay.
It's probably fine, but just because they are cooking a chemical off, any Absolute is that way.
Okay.
Always makes me a little, like, I don't know. I'd rather take something that's steam distilled or a CO2. And so usually when people are doing something internal, like long term, like for me, I use, the Alba is the more premium. I just still use the Damascus. It's a little bit cheaper than Alba, but for what I'm shooting for, the Damascus is fine. If I'm doing like deep meditation or some ceremony or something, I'll use the Alba, because the Alba is the only one that activates the heart and the crown. All the other roses, regardless of their source, activate just the heart. But for a lot of these practices, that's what I'm shooting for. So I go fancy when I need to, but if I don't need to, I use the other things. I don't always feel the need to go fancy.
So yeah, and I'm glad I asked, because I actually have only the Absolute, so I know not to.
For like a couple of weeks, if you want to take it internal, I would probably still take it internal. But I
Okay,
wouldn't do
not
it for a year.
okay.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
for a few weeks,
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but now I know I need the other one. So thank you.
But I mean, you might not. Like, that's the thing is like you get to the other side of this trip and it might get you there. And the breathing with the pattern might get you there.
Yeah.
And a 5 ml bottle of Damascus Rose is a little bit pricey. And so I
Yeah.
would say explore all the other options
Mm-hmm.
where you feel the need to buy
Yeah.
a 5 ml bottle.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Even for
that's
even the absolute, I have the small one. I have a two
yeah, that's
milliliter bottle.
perfect
Yeah.
because you're doing
Yeah.
inhalation. So that's
Yeah.
perfect.
And even for the internal, I have the actual one, not from the kit. Yeah.
Right.
And I have my Melissa, of course, and Kava, and yeah.
Right.
Okay. And then another thing I was wondering about, is there something, well, we can just, well, yeah, let's finish all of that first. So I have this thing going on with my, well, two things. Let's go with the easy one. I'll be doing the cholesterol support for the last few days since I got the package. So it's fine. So I'm doing it daily. I'm wondering, should I still do rosemary, verbena separately if I need it more for
What were you
sinuses?
doing the verbena for?
Mostly for sinuses, like to
Um,
clear,
eh,
like an ongoing thing.
yeah, I mean, I probably would. I mean, like when I get on a kick where I'm using rosemary verbena or right now I'm using Ravensara, not Ravensara, but Ravensara. And those two are very similar, but Ravensara has a little bit of a balancing effect, kind of like what the rosemary does. Not quite as good as rosemary, but I don't know. Sometimes we get really cold weather here, and so I started taking it just for the Ravensara is good for like head colds and head congestion. And so I'm doing it for balancing the nervous system, but trying to prevent this, you know what I mean? And so I'm taking it 3 or 4 times a day. And so, the cholesterol support, you're doing it, once a day, but I would still probably do the rosemary verbena because it is helping your sinuses, but also it's still helping the liver. And, that's what you're shooting for with treating the cholesterol is you're treating the liver, but you're also toning and helping to regulate the sympathetic nervous system by using it. And so I would keep doing it.
And then, okay, and then I can just do it in the other, like if I'm doing the cholesterol in the morning, I can do that in the evening, pretty
right.
much.
Yeah, just
Okay.
do it a couple times during the day and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I kind of get into this, like, I'll do it once a day, and during the day I'm like, I should actually do it more often if I need that. Like I realized that even today when I was more stressing out, I'm like, okay, I have so many oils in front of me, I should just take another one.
Right. Well,
Um,
part of the thing is you're not just stressing out to be stressing out. You're getting ready to do big flight, big trip, going to a war zone. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Your stress is
And
understandable. And honestly, if you were doing all that and weren't stressed at all and were totally chill, I would be a little concerned. It's like
yeah.
either you're a saint or an animal because it's like any normal person would be like super
Yeah.
stressed out about all of that.
And it's also so same thing, even with the rosemary. I'm like, wait, am I taking I keep thinking I might be taking like too much of things. I think that's
No,
not,
you're
yeah.
with
Okay.
I mean there's some things that's the case.
Yeah.
Rosemary, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, and with the trip, it's yeah, the war zone, okay. But other than that, I mean, let's face it, it's not like I'm going for a vacation. There's
No.
always stuff going on with my family, and I just got reminded a couple of days ago again how I'm like the one that's, the one that's unlike anybody else. So yeah, okay. So thank you for that. Then another thing I'm wondering about, nose. When the nose is, I don't know what's going on with it. Like I have this like itchy feeling and it's like a little bit inflamed. like inside, and it feels very dry. And it's been going on for a little bit now, like at least a couple of weeks.
Okay. So again, the rosemary is very good for that. It's not quick, but it is good for that. I mean, that also could be a byproduct of the stress. But when you have dryness like that, you can try inhaling. My two favorites for something like that. There's two different things that I do for something like that for myself or for like Samantha or whatever. Is so inhaling like some form of thyme, because like the more you kind of open up the blood vessels there, like the better. So like thyme or black pepper. Um, if you don't have either one of those,
I have both.
okay. Even like in a pinch, like go to like a restaurant and dump out some black pepper from the salt shaker, like take the cap off and put it in there and it will get like the blood and the mucus kind of moving a little bit. It will moisten things up. So there's that. And then there's Shazandra internally. Like Shazandra helps to moisten all the mucous membranes, like all of them.
Yeah.
So your eyes, your nasal passages, your lungs, your digestive tract, urinary tract, it helps to moisten all of that. And so, yeah.
Okay. Oh, so
Is
and
is the
then
weather real dry where you're at?
it is, and the heater is on most of the day
Yeah.
because it
And
tends
some
to
of
be
it's
really
just probably
cold.
that. Some of it's
And
just probably that. And
and
the stress.
and also the last couple of weeks when I went to see the doctor with the blood test, she also said that there's some cloudiness, like some cloudiness in my ears. And she said to do nothing major, but she said to do um nasal drops for a couple of weeks, which I usually don't do. So I
Meaning saline or
not either
like it's
X,
a prescription?
no, not prescription, either X Clean or X Clear, the one with the body test, grapefruit seed or silver.
Oh, yeah, either one. Yeah.
So I've been doing that for the last couple of weeks, but I don't know if it's making it actually worse, or it doesn't feel it's making this situation better. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I can stop. I feel like I can stop. She said originally 2 weeks.
Yeah. I try the things that we talked about. Like
Yeah.
quickly you've been trying it and it's not working.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so do inhalations, but and Shisandra internally, but would you put anything like in the nose, or like I put a little bit around it when it's really, but would you put any oils
Like
in?
if it feels like really dry, like like an example would be that, when I used to live out in California, it would be very common for clients to get like bloody noses, but because their nose was so dry, usually within a dosage of 2 or of the Shazandra, they would stop. And so, I mean, I still go back to that, but if you feel like, I still need a little something, I mean, you could take something like jojoba and put it on your finger and kind of swab up it
Yeah,
in
which
there.
yeah.
But I've tried that before and it was okay. It wasn't amazing. But in a pinch, you do what you got to do. I mean, it's hard when you're flying and because your body does get a little dehydrated and
Yeah.
you're going to be on the plane for a long time. And
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, that black pepper trip works pretty good.
Okay. Okay. So I'll
Like
try
if
that.
I start to feel even like a little clogged where things are thick and sticky, I'll just put some pepper on my food, inhale it for a little bit, and by the time I'm done with the meal, I'm having to blow my nose quite substantially.
Okay.
Because
Thank you.
everything's running. Probably
Yeah.
too much information, but that's
No,
my
it's good to, yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, it's just been feeling like there's really something that's like stuck, like there's
Yeah.
like a skin thing that's just not, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I sometimes actually do like inula in my nose if it
Sure.
feels like it's, yeah. But then, so that's fine, right? Just to do it like as is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to help the dryness. It's good for breaking up the mucus.
No, it's,
Like
yeah,
if
to
you're
open.
dry, like
Mhm.
the other thing that if you have mucus that's hardened and not moving, you know, the rosemary, the black pepper, another one that's a little bit of a sleeper there, but still can be very helpful is mugwort. You know,
Oh,
inhaling some mugwort just into the nose, like, you know, not trying to direct it anywhere, but just
yeah.
sometimes it will help to loosen up the hardened mucus and get it out.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Another one, actually, now that I'm thinking this out, like helichrysum. Like you could use some helichrysum that way. Because the thing with helichrysum is it makes things more fluid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sometimes our sinuses don't have the greatest blood supply to begin with. And so when we start having hardened mucus or, you know, a bunch of congestion or, you know, excess mucus or some gets inflamed, circulation goes down even more. And so the function is really quite diminished. And so you know, we can play with different versions of that.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm taking that every now and then so I can just be more
I
consistent.
would do inhalations. Yeah.
Oh, inhalations on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, get it like right into the mucous membranes directly.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then another thing I'm wondering about, the endocrine support. One of my clients ordered the small bottles and she was wondering what's in that, and I actually don't know.
Of endocrine support?
Endocrine support, yeah. She ordered a few other ones which I knew, but this one I was like, ooh, I'm not sure.
Lemon verbena, heavy on the lemon verbena. Bergamot, bergamot mint, and rose geranium.
Okay, cool, thank you. And then going back to what we just talked about opening the heart. We worked, when was it? I can't remember, last week, 2 weeks ago, the Antahkarana and the Antahkarana blend.
Mhm.
And one of the things we talked about was how it can open the different chakras. And would you work with that to
You
like,
could do that process out of that class, like on the front heart and back heart, which it was
okay.
actually that chakra was part of that class. You could do
Yeah.
that whole process. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So to do that on the heart and it's okay. So is it giving me the same thing? Or it's just opening it from a different way or?
It's flushing things out of it.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And that would you ever put it, because also when you put it on the center, it kind of activates it a little bit. So would you do that as well in addition? Even when meditating, maybe?
Honestly, if you were going to do something where you wanted to put it on topically, even if it's not the center you're working on, I'd put it on the forehead.
Okay.
Yeah. The forehead would have a bigger impact on topically than putting it directly on any of the chakras.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, safe travels.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then go ahead, Chris, then Troy.
Hey, Chris.
Hey Sam, hey Greg. I sprained my right ankle. Yeah, right. The last step of on my stairs, I landed on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was able. It hurt for a few hours, and it's fine. It's just feeling sticky in some
And is
points.
it more the outside of the ankle, or is it like deep in the ankle?
I think it went deep because the other side of the ankle was bruised too, and the heel. And then
Oh,
my
you
black
really,
and blue is like a sock.
yeah, boy, you really got it.
Yeah.
And you rolled it like outward, like you.
Yeah. I landed it outward and then I realized I landed on it. So I fell. I fell slow motion to my right side.
How bad do you like? So it rolled outward. Like if this is my foot, like you rolled the ankle that way, and you're standing on the outside of the.
It was, hang on, let me turn my video on. Shoot. How do I get there? Where's my second screen? Here we go. All right. Am I on video?
Mhm.
No, I am. Okay. So this is my right ankle. I landed on the last step this way. Boom. And then my body fell like this.
Okay. Um, and there was a lot of bruising, huh?
Not until day 4 or 5. And
Okay.
I was still walking on it. It hurt for the first day. Yeah.
Okay. Let's just treat it as a sprain. I mean, whenever you roll the ankle, like part of the issue is that you have the big bone in your leg, but then you have this little thin bone that comes down the outer part of the leg called the fibula, and it articulates down there. And so sometimes when you roll the ankle, there's a potential to break off a little chip of that in
Uh,
extreme cases. You
would I
know,
be able to walk on it if
yeah, you would still, I mean, if it was a little chip, they probably wouldn't do anything about it. If it's if it, fractured a big piece of it, you'd know it. And, that's a whole different ball of wax. But a little tiny chip or something, I'm not saying that that's what happens, but that's always the
Mhm.
concern.
Okay.
You deal with like, okay, did we just do a strain or a sprain, or is there a little bit of a ligament or a tendon issue? Or did we, fracture or even break off a little piece of that fibula? And so let's just treat it as if it's a bad sprain. Like,
Okay.
let's not jump to any weird conclusions, but if
Mhm.
over a period of time it's not responding well, we might need you to have like an x-ray of it just to
Okay.
make sure. I'd say it's already been like, it sounds like 5 6 days, so I would just treat it as if. Um, I so things like helichrysum, Eucalyptus citrodora, marjoram, like those would be the things that I would use on that area. I mean, arnica would also be good, but I doubt you have like a little thing of arnica. You might have an ointment maybe from one of the classes.
Yeah, she
Oh,
probably.
yes,
Yeah,
I do.
maybe if you have some
Actually, I
arnica,
put all
like
of that. The first
yeah,
thing I put the first few days was helichrysum, and then
yeah.
I took a marjoram salt bath the day it happened.
Oh, good.
What
And
was
and
the
so
other one?
here's the issue with like ankle sprains is you have the injury site like down in the ankle, but the issue is actually your shin. Like you want to go all the way up your shin almost to your knee. Like because those muscles turn into the tendons that are down in the ankle. And so when you injure that, part of what happens is those muscles up the shin also
Yeah.
get heavily involved. And so a lot of times when people like I used to work on a lot of runners, and that would happen is a lot of times I wouldn't even treat the ankle itself. I would treat the shin, and the symptoms would substantially diminish. And so I would use the marjoram or the helichrysum like up higher on the shin.
Got it.
Yeah, like you do that, and the symptoms should reduce quite substantially.
And the stickiness in the area of
It's probably because the muscles are super contracted.
Gotcha.
That, and you probably have a bit of tendonitis, which your use of helichrysum was good instinct, both for the wound and for some sort of tendonitis that could be there. That eucalyptus citrodora, those two work really well together for tendonitis, or they were good individually by themselves.
Mhm.
And so,
Oh, I remember that blend. You have something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that,
And
right?
so if
Eucalyptus
you
and
have eucalyptus
helichrysum?
citrodora, I'd go crazy with it. Like on the ankle, on the shin,
Yeah,
it's
that's in
nice,
my
it's
bathroom.
inexpensive. Yeah. It's one I don't talk about a whole bunch, but like I don't know, like about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I'm like, I don't really talk about that very much, but why? Why don't I? And it's just, we have so many tools, but I think for me, like some of the reason why I might not use it is, I love the smell of the oils, but when you put a bunch of eucalyptus citrodora on, you smell it for like a good day. Like, it's like you smell like eucalyptus for, it's lemony, but
Yeah.
y-
You smell like
it,
the spa.
yeah, like it's a strong, it has a strong lasting scent, but it also has a strong lasting effect. And
Mm,
so, it mixed in with alcohol like as a body tonic or a ointment or something like that, the scent's nowhere near as strong, but you know putting just several drops on that area and rubbing it in or up the shin, you'd be surprised how good that feels. Like sometimes I put it on my shins, like the last, I don't know, like last week, I think I did it 2 or 3 times during the week. Wasn't
mhm.
having an issue with anything, but it just, God, it feels so good. It's like it relaxes the legs and then it relaxes my body. And I wasn't really feeling the need to treat something in particular there, but just putting on the shins was just like, oh, God, that felt good. It just feels good.
Yeah.
And so when you have like a sprain like that, that area um, can can tighten up, and anytime the shin tightens up, a lot of times the calf will compensate as well. And then pretty soon it just kind of keeps going up higher up the leg.
Wow.
And it might not be pain, but it's like tension, a little bit of muscle imbalance and things like that. So I'd treat from the knee down, be sure to treat the heel, the arch, like hit all those spots, really rub some stuff in, really kind of pamper that ankle for a couple of weeks.
Hmm.
But you should start feeling some results and feeling relief kind of quickly.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I have a couple more questions.
sure.
Um, I, I'm blanking out. I remember you made a pre and post surgery kit.
Hmm.
Is that kit online or do I need
Yeah,
to
it should be.
email you
Yeah,
guys?
isn't it?
And
Oh,
it says post surgery, pre surgery,
Robert will post it here in just a second. It's operation, I think.
Yeah,
Post-op.
operate. Oh,
yeah,
okay, gotcha.
yeah,
Operation kit.
yeah, something like that.
I just keep looking at the chat. Yeah, it's called post-operation kit. And if you go to the chat, Robert has the link right there.
Yeah. And Greg, can you just walk me through quickly for someone who's having knee surgery? What would be the first course of action? Helichrysum would be. I
Before or
remember you
after?
asked her. Um, do you recommend doing anything before with the oils?
How far away are they from having the knee surgery?
Next month.
I would do things for the knee that and they're having a meniscus or a knee replacement, or what are they having done?
Replacement.
Yeah. I mean, I would do things that are very antispasmodic. The whole idea of like marjoram or black
Yeah.
pepper, any basil, petitgrain, whatever you got in your kit that has an antispasmodic quality. You know, because like when that's been there, like German chamomile would reduce the inflammation, but really home stretch, you're really wanting to condition that area so that when they have the surgery, they're able to bounce back faster. And
Right.
that those areas have been really working overtime to clamp down
Mm-hmm.
to keep that knee like stabilized. And you could even use like lactic acid flush, you know, stuff like that, just to keep cleaning up that knee. And
Okay.
afterwards, I would just do the post-op kit. Yeah. You know, the helichrysum is great for the scar. You know, if I remember right, it's got blue healer or German chamomile or something. It's
It's
got,
got blue healer, yes.
yeah,
Paracelsus, vetiver,
yeah,
galbanum, black cumin. And black
yeah,
cumin is taken internal,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. Do you, I can't remember. Do you take galbanum
You
internally
can,
too?
or you can just put it on the wrist. That one is an either or.
Ah,
If they don't like the smell, have them take it internal. If they're fine with the smell, just have them put it on their wrist.
okay. Wrist or internal. Gotcha. I think
And that
I,
should have instructions with that kit, by the way.
right. Okay. I'll
Yeah.
remember to ask for that. Okay. And then something interesting. There's this new person who came in,
Mhm.
and she was coming in for a lot of preconditioning that happened from childhood
Okay.
to primarily childhood through, I would say, college days. And
Just like stressful environment or people being not nice to her or
a whole mixed bag of those things.
okay.
Yeah. And the minute I met her, there's like this laser beam that hit my forehead, like almost like, you know, those Star Wars swords. It was like a
Mhm.
beam like that that hit my temple. And I mean, she was nice, you know, she was a nice lady, and but that thing stayed with me for hours.
Mhm.
Was that just her energy body being
Yeah, it
hyper
could be.
alert?
Yeah, a little bit of maybe a defense mechanism that was
Yeah.
unconscious. Or did she
Okay.
seem very intense? Like nice but intense?
More of like so many things going on in the head.
Do things to clean up the arms and legs on that person.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, things that are cleansing, things like vetiver or spikenard, something that's like relaxing. Like they just look like their body's really reactive. And a lot of times that's a lot of congestion in the arms and legs.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
used spikenard on her. That put her
Yeah. But like have her
super
like dab it
relaxed.
on the joints or like really, you know, even if it's not something she does at home, like go, you know,
Mm-hmm.
dab, 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 and you know, it'll help your session.
Thank you. And then for it's almost like she's trying to find her identity, right? Because there's so many impressions put on her to be something and or someone else. What would be a
Mhm.
good oil for that, tuberose?
Acacia,
Keisha.
and on the lower centers. So acacia, like on the navel, spleen, Ming Men, sex, and basic. Include the navel minor as well.
Okay.
Is you know, basically what you're kind of dealing with when we all have this, but like different people from different for different reasons, and it's not always from trauma or bad, but like sometimes we grow up in very structured situations, or we really push to go to school or university or whatever, but there's like it's like a form of oppression, and some of
Yeah.
it's from the environment and some of it is self-imposed because of the environment. Like,
Yes.
I'm doing this so that I'm oppressing myself so that I stay stable and when I'm around all the crazies, or I oppress myself so I don't disappoint or upset somebody, that's in the environment, or something like that. And so eventually that can turn into like a psychosomatic kind of response.
Mm-hmm.
But even like trying to go after the psychosomatic component, it really doesn't change things a lot, because the like the tendency for either being oppressed by the environment, or to have it be like self-imposed, and we usually have a little bit of both, right? We usually have a little bit of both, and we all have it. It's just some people have a lot more of it than others.
Mm-hmm.
um it's not even like it's a behavior. It's almost like
It's like a program running
yeah,
behind.
it's like a thing that is a potential trigger or something. You know what I mean? And so what you're doing is when you treat with acacia down in those lower centers, is you're reducing the tendency or the potential for those triggers to stimulate eventually a behavior, or a response. And so I what I find when I treat that of myself is that it reduces like the fears and the I should do this, I should do that, I should not do this, I should not do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it reduces all of that. And for me, nobody's imposing any of that on me. It's usually self-imposed. But when I was young, uh, you know, I had a basket full of it from other people. And so I just kind of continued the tradition. And so for me, we're actually going to talk about this and do practices in this, and creating the life altar for the beginning of the year is like I do the acacia, and then I follow it by doing inhalation processes with it's a blend that I make with arnica, but like you could use just arnica by itself, like the absolute of arnica. And it's very it's very stabilizing and regulating to like the forehead, the solar plexus, the jaws, the Mingmen, the sex chakra, those centers. They get overstimulated when we start getting overstimulated or get like highly reactive. Like it just kind of calms all of that down. The thing with arnica is not the homeopathic stuff that you get at like the health food store and all this. I'm talking about like the absolute when you inhale it. It acts as a stimulant to the body when the body is dealing with like trauma or inflammation. Like it stimulates proper functions. And inflammation is body inflammation, but it could also be emotional inflammation or mental inflammation, where we're dealing with an inflamed situation or a inflamed thing from our past or something like that. And it just helps. It's not even that it calms you down. It's like the best way I could describe it for myself is it gives me perspective versus reactivity. You know what I mean? Like you'll feel that stimuli where you feel like, something bad's about to happen, or something's, I gotta fix something. I need to be careful. And then when I do that process with the acacia and then follow it with the arnica,
Oh, you
um,
follow it. Okay.
yeah, I follow it with the arnica. Yeah. Um, the thing that happens is like either that goes away or even when it pops up, I'm able to sit and go, yeah, that's just in my mind. Like, where before there's no way I would go, that's just in my mind, you, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and, because the other areas that get overactivated would be the perineum and the soles of the feet, sometimes even all the chakras of the arms and legs. And in really extreme cases, that happens. But like when that happens, people almost feel like they're losing their mind. Like, there's been many, many times where people thought they were having a nervous breakdown and just treated those centers and then um, treated the arms and legs and they were normal again.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the acacia, what pattern would you use?
That navel minor, spleen, mingmen, sex, and basic.
Navel, minor, spleen. That's what I'm missing. Okay. All right. And then followed by acacia. Oh, I'm sorry, arnica, the same pattern.
No, arnica, I would probably do the brain and then spine and then brain spine and then brain soles of feet.
And souls.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Greg.
You're so welcome.
Appreciate
If
you.
you wanted to work like after you do the acacia and you do the arnica and you do that pattern, it's almost
Mm-hmm.
doing it opposite of the auric programming. After you've done the brain, spine, and that whole thing, then you could do the 4 quadrants with the arnica, but usually by then you don't need it. In
Okay.
really extreme cases, maybe, but for most people, you probably wouldn't need it.
You said arnica, right? The
Right.
4 quadrants. Okay.
Yeah, the arnica part. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Troy, then Linda.
Hey, Troy.
Hey, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. I'm having that shoulder is bugging real bad still, and
Okay.
I'm having pain and soreness, kind of not the other shoulder so much, but like both wrists, both elbows, pretty bad.
Like it's like feels a little bit like a toothache.
I'm not sure about that.
Like it's like a dull ache in the wrist itself.
It's kind of sharp actually.
Okay.
And like I really feel it, in the shoulder kind of all the time, and then in both elbows, real strong, like almost like having tennis elbow, really bad.
Okay. That's probably your neck. I mean, good chance it's it could be the shoulder itself. There's a thing called thoracic outlet syndrome where muscles in the shoulder compress nerves, but that sounds like a nerve's being impacted. So by the time it gets to the elbows and the wrist, you're feeling something that's compressed higher up. So you can treat the shoulders a bit, but I'd probably treat the neck, especially the back of the neck. Are you prone to like neck issues or anything like that?
I mean, I don't think of it as that, but I have had so many injuries. I definitely have had whiplash in the car, on the bicycle, from rock
Yeah.
climbing.
You have a neck issue then. Like if you've had that, then you usually, even if we treat it a little bit, there's always going to be leftovers of that. And so I would treat it as if, I mean, I would still treat the arms and the legs and the shoulder, but I would do things that are helping to relax the neck itself. And that thing with like the vetiver roller ball along the base of the skull and a little bit on the sides of the neck. be it with vagal tone or with vetiver, spikenard, anything like that. I would do that. And then how's your ability to do this? Are you able to do that? You know how you bend your fingers back and then your fingers
Yeah.
are touching the top of the
I can do that totally, but as soon as I did it, I was like, oh geez, even my finger joints all hurt too.
okay. But you're able to do it on both sides.
Yeah.
Okay. But it did cause some pain. Okay. How's your breath been? Like, how's your breathing?
It's off.
Okay.
It's way off. Like
Let's
my
also
breath
treat
and
the
my
breath.
sleep
Like,
have been real off for a while.
let's do the neck. And have you been doing anything for your breath over the last like week or two?
I've been breathing large. I've been breathing large and like Palo Santo
Okay.
into it. I've been putting lymphatic blend, Palo Santo, sage on
Let's
it.
have you go deeper with the larch or with hyssop,
What's up?
inula. Uh,
I don't
even
know.
have you put like several drops of larch on the body, like on the chest? Like just, just neat, just like bam, 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 and then just kind of rub it in. Um, and then keep doing the inhalation. And I think that the diaphragm sounds like it's a little bit off, which is anytime the diaphragm's off, which is also tied to the bronchioles and the neck, there's an increase of tension in the spine, including the cervical spine. And we want to take some of the pressure off because I think what you're feeling is pressure on nerves. And if your breath is off, your spine is compressing the nerves. I mean, it's just mechanical, it's happening. And so the stressful situations kind of have passed from like a month ago, right? And like so things are just settled down. So now you're just dealing with kind of just the body aches and pains, or is there
It's
still is there still an
been 2 weeks.
what's that?
It's been 2 weeks, and yeah, I kind of feel like a weird, like almost like a calm during a storm kind of feeling, where I feel like now all of a sudden, like it's gonna start hitting me. Like I started to cry a little bit in the car today on the way home from work, and I
Okay.
wasn't even thinking about it. And then after I started, I was like, oh, I'm starting to like actually process.
And do you think it's about the person or the pattern?
Uh, Probably both.
Yeah. Okay. Let me think about this for a sec. So, okay, let me look it up real quick. Um, okay, so on that healing with light and love or love and light, whatever I called that. Um, there's that segment that's segment 3, the deep release, where it's the Antahkarana, the protective web, then the fancy etheric cords, and then the delta, and then the fancy health rays.
Yes.
Do that, but on your Ming Men.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because for one, it's going to balance out the brain. It's going to help to establish order both in you, but more importantly in the environment. So meaning the person, the situation, or just life. And then it's going to help transmute whatever emotions. Because I think sometimes that, you know, we try to process some of these things emotionally, mentally, but some of it's just in the body. You know, like your body has a like a muscle memory of it of sorts. And you know, like you said, it might be some the person, some the pattern, and whatever it is, the Ming Men is a very good janitor. You know, the heart and the crown, I think, will continue the process, but I think so, like a lot of times it's like that it gets stuck in the body. So let's have you just like work that part of the body. Like just go deep with, you know, doing the Antahkarana. So in the booklet it says front heart and back heart. You would disregard that and you do Ming Men. And then you do the protective web, you just do Ming Men. And then the etheric cords, Ming Men. And then Delta, Ming Men. And then the health rays, you would do Ming Men, and then the 4 quadrants. You could do that daily for a little bit.
What what page is that on?
It starts on top of page 5, and the last little piece is on the top of page 6. So it's segment 3, page 5, and a little bit of page 6.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And go ahead, Linda, then Dan.
Hey, Linda.
Hey, I wanted to talk about Mugwort tonight. I just got my little free gift. Thank you so much.
Okay, good.
So my first question is Mugwort something to take internally? Like on
I wouldn't take it internal. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's been a time where I took like a drop or two, but it's not a good thing to do.
okay.
You know,
I
it's got too
smelled it and
much.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, it's got too much thuyon in it, and
Uh-huh.
so, but very good for putting on areas topically. Like it basically, it's like what acupuncturists use to open up the meridians. So, like any area where you want to open up energy flow, you could apply it to that topically, or you inhale it and breathe it into the areas. And so like if you took it and put it like on your crown, your forehead, your ajna, your heart, the solar plexus, it would open up all the upper centers, but it wouldn't open up necessarily the lower centers. So like wherever you put it, that center gets a bit activated. You know, not forever, but for a little while. And so, you know, like say you have like arthritis in the thumb or in the wrist, if you look at that person's energy body, that part of the arm is a bit depleted, right? So, you know, you go through and do things to reduce pain and inflammation and increase energy levels in that area and blood flow and all that. But putting mugwort on that area opens everything up. And even that sometimes just reduces pain and increases movement. And so you could use it to, you know, putting it on the arms and legs always helps to increase flow and helps increase transmutation. But anywhere where the body needs energy to really move, like it's been stuck or stagnant, or the energy flowing to that area is real poor, um, uh, it hits that area and opens that up. It gets energy moving to a much higher degree. Chakra root cleanser will do that too, but you know, a chakra root cleanser has a bunch of mugwort in it. You know, that's so the reason why chakra root cleanser does it is because of the mugwort.
Right. Okay, good. Because Judy and Gina and I are starting to practice weekly with the Healing with Light and Love segments. You know,
Mhm.
we're doing once a week doing a segment, and we're doing the mugwort. It's it's an ointment, right? That's in there, right?
Yeah.
That you gave us, which is really nice. And so
Yeah.
I've been using that more on regularly on like my feet and
Yeah.
my
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
shoulders, my neck, shoulder
Yeah.
area that I always have issues
Yeah.
with. Um, and even like on my jaws, I
Yeah,
have
oh
something
yeah.
to do with my jaws, right? Um, how does it compare, for instance, for the jaws to use mugwort versus that golden seal tincture you gave us in the class you taught here?
Golden seal would be more of like moving lymph and circulation and things like that, detoxifying that area, where the mugwort's all about just moving the energy.
Okay.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, mugwort has a little bit of an antispasmodic effect, like for women on their cycle, like putting on the lower abdomen can reduce some cramping and things like that.
mm,
Um, but I mean, the thing that just mugwort does, it just opens up the flow of energy into an area. I mean, that's what it's all about.
okay.
Yeah.
And then,
A fun pattern to do with that is
yeah.
the organs of blood purification.
Ah, okay.
Lungs and liver and gallbladder and kidney
Right.
and spleen. Yeah, it's a nice one.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
And just
yeah.
what you're talking about with inhalation there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, just with inhalation. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then is mugwort, um, I've really only used it like in the body tonic or an ointment or something. Is
Mhm.
it okay to apply it neat?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Yeah, in fact, there's been a couple acupuncturists that because that moxie that they burn, like if you've ever had acupuncture treatment and they start burning that long stick or something in there, going near your areas where there's blockages, that's mugwort. And I had a few acupuncturists that switched out the moxie and just went to like a little mugwort roller ball and just rubbed it on the areas.
Okay, terrific.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Greg. Um, hey, Sam. Um, I just wanted to kind of check in with a couple of things. I gotta tell you this issue that I've had with this one person, it seems like. I've been
Mhm.
doing like a roux in the morning,
Sure.
and I gotta tell you that's really helped a lot.
Yeah.
It's like four quadrants kind of thing, even
Yeah.
above, below, and internal.
Sure. Yeah.
Last
Yeah.
couple of days, and it's really got a whole different aspect. Today, when we had a meeting, actually, I feel like the energy interacting. I mean, we're not at odds, kind of thing, but it's energy. It just kind of it stayed. It didn't penetrate, if you will.
Right.
It just kind of I could feel it like there was something pushing on there, but it
Mhm.
was just really an interesting kind of dynamic as opposed to feeling like all kind of weird with it. So
Yeah.
is that a good tool that kind of with
Yeah,
the
it's a great tool. And don't worry, like I think I've said it before, like in the corporate setting,
yeah,
the two oils that I used to sell, I mean, 100 times more than everything else was rue and hyssop. Like soon as if I could get somebody to start using both of those, like they'd lose their mind at how good it felt. Like like there was this one big CEO, he never wanted to wear it because he didn't want to smell weird going into a meeting or being around, clients or the owner or whatever. But he would buy 8 ounces of each one and like fill up the little 2 ml bottles,
uh-huh,
and he'd put them in his desk, in his pocket, like he just like shotgun them everywhere.
uh,
And so like he would just and if somebody said, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, sinuses." He would always just say sinuses or something like that. And he said it was a game changer for him.
yeah,
You know,
wow,
and the thing like with the roux, it does pull you out of fight flight a little bit and definitely stimulates the parasympathetic activity. But it's very specific to like conflict or being at odds with something. And St. John's wort can do it as well, but it's still different. Like St. John's wort, I find helps when it's a little bit more like in your head. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like you're thinking about it more, you're grinding on it more. You know, there's facts and details that you're needing to process, where Rue is just kind of doesn't matter if it's the gut or the emotions or the mind, it just cleans it up. And so, you know, even that idea, we did it, remember, in one of the classes back in November where we did it with um, etheric chords, where we went chakra by chakra by chakra by chakra.
Right.
You could do the same thing with Rue. Like it would
Oh,
be a little bit different, but again, it's even if you're not arguing, there's still like a thing like in the workplace where you guys just might be at odds with each other, or you have different opinions, or you have different styles of doing something, or you know, who knows what it is. And that the more that you keep that calm down, the more likely you'll be able to adjust and adapt. Where if that's still there, what's going to happen is you're just going to be reactive, and it's not because you're emotionally choosing it or mentally choosing it. You just go into the automatic behavior. You know, you have the instinctual response, and it's just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Where you know, it's like that thing, like that story or that joke, whatever we call it, where the king with the clairvoyant, and
yes.
I love that story, but it's the same thing. Like, first clairvoyant says, everybody around you is going to die. And he's like, I don't like that, off with your head. Second one, he goes, tell me my future. Everybody around you is going to die. I don't like that, off with your head. Third one, tell me about my future. You outlive everybody. Said the same thing, but just
But,
said it in a different way that made it
right.
digestible. And so, like, in a way,
Huh.
the what you could call that is you're not having just the reaction, because it's not like a reaction like you're getting triggered, but just part of our behavior, part of how we interact socially is just a bunch of reactions. It looks a lot like clairvoyantly, if you stand back, it just looks like chemical reactions, right? And so
I can see that.
it allows you to be a little bit more tactful, and it's not even like you're cognitively having to do it. It's just you get a little bit more like aware, you have a little bit more of a pause, and you'll just have more insight about, like, how do I adjust this? How do I produce my result? How do I interact with this person? How do I make that person feel heard, and how do I get heard? You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like, it just
Right.
kind of enhances all of that.
Right.
The hyssop will help with reducing negativity in situations, but the rue is all about the conflict itself.
It was really like it was kind of a real change for breaking patterns, breaking
Uh-huh.
an old pattern that I was, just the whole thing, the anxiety, even the way I talk to myself, the self-talk and all that sort of thing,
Right,
it just did a lot to kind of just cut that out, kind of
right,
just stop it almost, right?
right.
And then I've also been adding a perspective of being more in kind of in my well, with the soul affirmation, right? Being more in the soul being area, right? Looking
Hmm.
down and
Hmm.
observing the body versus being in the mind and the body and saying the affirmation. I, with with Anthony the other day had that he just mentioned that the other day when I was looking for something. How can I, when everything's going on, how can I bring in the soul affirmation? Kind of thing. I'm
Well,
not
you could just even take a little piece of it, and I had a couple clients doing this the other day where, um, say you have a situation like this person or some difficulty, and you just keep going, I am not that. I am
right.
not that. I am not that. You think of the situation and keep going, I am not that.
Yeah.
It seems like really simple, but it does, like, disengage, because part of it, like, I've looked at myself in those situations quite a bit, and a lot of times it's like I'm personalizing the situation, and I'm feeling I have to resolve this when no, I don't. Like I don't have to, it's not my responsibility, or, I might need to handle something on my own, but I don't have to make this whole situation better. And the doing the I am not that makes it not personal, and it allows you to problem solve to a much higher degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After that class that you brought that up, I am not
Mhm.
that. I can't tell you how many times I was saying that
Yeah.
throughout the whole thing. It
Yeah.
was like my new little go-to
Yeah.
toolbox. I mean, I am
Yeah.
not that, I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that. So it's
So this is what I've
really,
even
really
done. Like
good.
I did this just last week, where it wasn't even about a particular situation, but it's a thing I used to do quite a bit, and it had been a while, but I got out my mala,
Huh.
so big traditional mala, so 108 beads. And I was like, I am not that. I am not that. I am not that. I am not that. It
Oh, wow.
wasn't even about a particular situation, but
Right.
I am not that. I am not that. I did the whole mala of just, I am not that. I am not that. I am not that. And, you
Wow.
know,
Wow.
it puts things in perspective, because it's very easy for the mind to personalize the stuff going on around us, or that's directed at us. But a lot of times it's just because we're there. It's not because something we're doing or needing to fix. It's just, you know, if we switched places and I had to go deal with that person, I would probably be having the same issues, but not the experience that you had, and it'd probably be going worse. You know what I mean? Like, it's just proximity and interaction.
Right. Right.
And so, like, the primary Uncle Bob in my family, because there's a lot of Uncle Bobs, but there's one who's, King Uncle Bob. Um, you have an interaction with this person and you just walk away feeling like, what is it about me? Why am I bringing this into this situation? But, there's been times where I've sat at like a holiday or something, and I've watched people interact with them. And it's like, it's everybody that interacts with that person. It's not just me, it's everybody. And so, we all handle it a little bit different, and we all, behave a little different. And some people become adversarial, and some people just kind of, you know, I don't know, do what he wants just so he's not mean or whatever. But it doesn't matter who's in front of him. He's that way with everybody. He's just obnoxious, and
Kind of
as
puts
much
a
as
bit
I
of
know
a
that in my mind, like in my body or in the situation, I forget it, but when you're dealing with somebody like that, being able to temper yourself and like refine yourself, where you go like, okay, this is a learning experience. I'm going to learn how to deal with this person. I'm going to learn how to be able to redirect them or communicate with them or produce a result, working in unison with this person, whatever it is. I'm going to adjust myself so that this can happen. And the little things that they do or say that trigger me, if I see it in that perspective, it's not even triggering. It almost becomes comical. Like, I know it's a weird thing to say, but it's almost like,
I
of
get
course
it.
you're going to
It's
say
almost
that. Of
laughable. Yeah.
course you're going to try to insult me like that.
Yeah.
Of course
Yeah.
you're going to try to manipulate me like that. And it starts to be like that person turns into a little kid trying to, get you to give them a piece of candy or something. And it's like, of course you're saying all
Yeah.
these things,
Yeah. I'm just starting to get little glimpses of that, actually, bringing that into
Yeah.
myself, and what I'm seeing in interactions with other. It's really kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, but just remembering that when you're in the process of it, that's kind of
Right.
where I'm at, right? I kind of feel myself slipping in, but then anyway, yeah.
I used to have this friend, like, it was a long time ago. And this person they would say something nice. It was usually like if they text or called or left a voicemail or an email, they would say something nice. They would say something complimentary. and then a little bit of time would go by. They'd wait for a response, and then after that, they would go for your jugular. Like they would just come with the most malicious things to be said. And, at first I was just like, oh, why is this person in my life? Like, da, 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 da. And, there was little periods where it was a bit triggering and everything. And, I don't know, the last few times that it's happened, well, longer, but, the last few times they send a message and it's something nice. And I was like, this is what I say to myself. I wonder how long it's going to take before I get the malicious insult. And I'll let go. Will it be today? Will it be tomorrow? Like, if it was with a bunch of people, I'd say let's do a pool and see when it's going to happen, because it's going to happen, And it's not because we had an argument. I usually don't even respond. And it's good to be able to know what's yours and what's theirs. And
Yes.
going back to the thing about I am not that really helps define that. Like, that's not mine, that's theirs.
Mhm.
I might have my things, but that's not one of them.
Right. Yeah. It's been a really valuable set of experiences to kind of
Mm-hmm.
put that in that frame, right? And in kind of that context. So, yeah. There is one more thing too. One of my colleagues from work is who was talking to me today. He's had his knee is kind of just like kind of really inflamed, and he's having to walk around on a cane. It just kind of happened. He was doing some stuff. He's trying to get his household. He lives in New York, and he's
Mhm.
trying to get some his household sold, and moving around a lot of stuff. And that's what I, finding out from him. So I got him like a bottle of roll-on mugwort.
Mhm.
Would that would kind of
That,
help?
that would be helpful. That definitely could be helpful. And then something that's anti-inflammatory. So
An
either
anti-inflammatory.
German chamomile, and again, I go back to the Eucalyptus citrodora. You can tell I've been playing with Eucalyptus citrodora because, like, another thing about Eucalyptus citrodora, I'm cracking myself up. But like, I put a bunch on last night, and I was like, "You have to try this out. This is like my new best friend." Like, uh,
Is that also topical or
yeah,
inhalation?
just topical. Yeah, no, just
Okay.
topical. Yeah,
And you have that eucalyptus. What was that last piece? I know what.
Citrodora, like Citrodora. Yeah.
Okay.
The thing
Great.
that's nice about it is it works really good and it's cheap. It's like super cheap.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Where,
Um,
like German chamomile works really well, but German chamomile's significantly more expensive and blue and
yeah, I don't know if he's gonna go for something like that. I mean, I
yeah.
would send him like some helichrysum when he was going through
Yeah,
some things too, and
perfect.
he really liked that actually. This was
Yeah.
a while ago.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, yeah, okay, cool. I think I might be augmenting an order. I just sent down that. So, but good. And I saw you're coming to Sarasota next month. That's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
cool.
Like the
Oh,
second weekend in January.
yeah. Great.
Yeah.
So cool. So
Yeah,
good.
looking forward to
Looking
seeing you
forward.
guys.
Yeah, you as well, man. Okay, we'll see you around. Take care.
Okay. Oh, and Dan, one more thing.
Yeah.
Remember you were asking about the relic swords? I'm going to have some in my hands in about a week.
Ah,
So I'll send you pictures,
please.
if you're
Yeah.
interested. But like
Yeah. Well,
we
actually,
got a couple. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, love that. I had a really good practice over the weekend, so that was kind of neat to get back and working with the tools again too. So
Yeah.
yeah, great. We'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
And then go ahead, Ralph, and then we have some shares, I think, in the chat as well.
Hey, Ralph.
Hey, Greg. I was
How's your wife's knee doing, by the way?
she's doing very, very well.
Good.
Sent you an email today just to recap. We went ahead to go out yesterday morning to the bank and we had a friend of ours drive us, so our
Uh-huh.
walking was probably a mile altogether, all on flat surface, and she had no discomfort in the knee. She got tired because it was
Oh,
the
that's
first
such
thing
good
she'd done for
news.
7 days,
Right, that's such good news.
but there was no discomfort, and any discomfort in the knee is now down to where the abrasion was and where
Right.
the scab is coming off.
So I think it was just probably inflammation,
Yeah.
which
Yep.
is the best case scenario by
Yes.
far.
And
Yeah.
we're continuing to put on the coconut oil, marjoram, and
Beautiful.
green German chamomile
Right. Beautiful.
morning and night, and she's getting around real good.
Good, good.
So I was going through the healing inflammation, or not, one of the classes this week or this yesterday, and you had talked about doing the 4 quadrants and also focusing on various areas of the body, which are maybe of concern. Of you want to work on the heart, you want to work on the throat, brain, whatever. If I want to work on the thymus, do I focus on the throat minor or on the heart?
Heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The heart, like even if you just work the heart front and back, the front will hit it, the back will hit it a little bit more. But a
Okay.
lot of times I do both. But yeah, like I think you're talking about the materialization breath.
Yes,
Yeah.
materialization breath and whatever
Do
area of the body is of concern.
right. Like work it with the front heart, back heart. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. And then also that first segment,
Mm-hmm.
remember like we're with what was it, Moroccan thyme or mimosa, and I can't remember what the other one was, but that is actually for the thymus as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that very first segment that we did in that weekend.
Okay. All right. That was, yeah, the thymus regulation with the Moroccan time.
Right.
Yeah, I did that several times yesterday to relax things, and it worked very well.
Yeah, it's such a
I'm doing that a lot.
yeah. It's such a nice one.
Yes. Thank you.
The sword perked my ears up. Is that like the sword Manjushri?
Yeah, Manjushri sword. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have non-relic ones on the Astara site, and we do the Manjushri practice. But you could also say it's like kind of the Archangel Michael sword, but it's a Manjushri sword. But you know, I love I love using relics. So they're so juiced up, and so some of you guys have wanted some relics, and so that one took us a long time to hunt down, but we did get a couple of them. Yeah.
Can I go to the 2nd January event in Sarasota? Where will it be held? I'm trying to get myself to travel a bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
yeah.
Destination Sarasota, 2nd week of January,
Yeah,
and
well,
Destination Chicago, last weekend of
right.
January.
We'll post the address, but it's at somebody's house who has a big giant room like right on the water, on a bay, and beautiful views, beautiful house, and yeah. But yeah, we'll post the address and everything on the site. But yeah, more than welcome to come.
Yeah, guys, come travel with us this year. Love to have you guys hang out with us wherever we are.
Yeah.
And some of the places, if it's a private residence, we don't post the address on the website.
That's probably
But feel free to email me at info@plantpranaoils.com and I will get that to you. No
yeah.
problem.
That's
That way you can find
yeah, that's a good
best-
point.
Yeah. Public places we post.
Yeah.
Uh, Sorry, guys, I wasn't taking pictures the whole time while you guys were asking questions. Greg, wanna talk a little bit more about what we're up to in 2025 for the ARC programming while I look for the questions here?
Oh, so what we're gonna do for we're presenting more of a the booklet for the ORIC programming. It's going to have all the different kind of health conditions under each of the different programs. So like and they'll be searchable. So like say you're, wanting to treat, a back issue or something, you'll be able to put in the search and then see like, oh, these 4 or 5 ORIC programs will go through and treat this. Sometimes it's good to do it that way, and sometimes you might want to make it very personalized for a person because of the things going on. But one of the things that we thought we'd do is, we'll take an ORIC program a week and do like a deeper dive on what it is and why to use it, and deeper explanations of that particular aspect of the aura. And we're just going to go through a slow roll of every week we'll do one. So we're going to do that for 49 weeks. It's a free thing that we'll do. We're figuring out when to put it in the schedule, and it will be recorded. So even if you can't make it, it will be something that you can practice later, or search and when you want to go through and look at one of these pieces. And so yeah, we're stepping up the ORIC program game. We'll be blending the aspects of vibrational healing and the aura together next year as we go through the different classes. And plus, I'm in the process of looking at different devices of being able to talk about like measuring the brainwave activity when we're dealing with a particular health issue, or when you're dealing with some, like how Dan and I were talking about, like that person in work. Part of like what happens when we shift like that is the brain also shifts. And so we're going to start talking about some of those aspects that, we've covered a lot of it, but we're going to go into much deeper detail, and going to go through and use devices to measure what brain waves each oil hits, and why to use it, and to get really specific, especially on emotional and mental things, so we can shift the brain and the nervous system to a much higher degree. And it's just all going to be charted out for you guys. So
Yeah, so
yeah,
get excited.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
lots of really cool things on the way, even just to start off with,
Yeah.
right?
Like I find it like about a month ago, we were in Birmingham and we were doing a class in person, and Zoom, and Tracy had an aura ring on, and she was feeling calmed and relaxed. And then we started thinking about like a difficult person or difficult situation, and for her it was both a difficult person that's making a difficult situation. And just her thinking about it for 30 seconds, the aura ring said that she's entered into a very stressful situation, and she was just sitting in class thinking of that person. So this goes back to that idea of when we have like a traumatic event or something upsetting, there's still a little piece of us that is operating like that is still happening, even though we're extracted out of the situation. And so a lot of our practices are based on coming down part of the nervous system when it comes to that, so that we stop having those neurological responses. But we're going to take it much deeper and be a lot more specific. I mean, we're still pretty specific now, but we're going to be surgical with it. Like you can just like systematically go after something very, very specifically. Back it up with scientific data. So even with meditations with with Astara, we're going to use it with mantra, and even working with the how I was talking with Dan about the relics. We're going to be testing like what the relics do with the brain waves and all those kinds of things. We can measure energy, but let's look at it from the point of view from the nervous system. So we're going to be integrating all that. So I've been looking at a bunch of devices, and boy, if you ever want to feel not smart, go into a scientific community that's talking about all that stuff. Oh my God. But I have a couple of devices that I've acquired that we'll see how it works. One of them might be a little bit over my head, but I might have to have somebody tutor me for a while before I can use that one. But I have some that are very straightforward that we can hit the ground running with. So yeah. Anyway.
Someone said I'm game for exploring brainwaves.
Yeah, no joke.
Yeah, totally. It's gonna be great, guys. I know you
Yeah.
guys. I know you guys are as excited as we are. But, also, just to make sure you guys understand the journey through the art programs, that 2025 all year thing, it's for everybody and anybody. So even just it's for everyone. I'll just keep it
Yeah.
as simple as that. And yeah, I think we're ready for practice.
Let's do a
or-
practice. And since we were talking about mugwort, let's see if you have mugwort. If you don't have mugwort, Artemisia is also a form of mugwort. If you don't have that, try using chakra root cleanser. And if you don't have that, we'll come up with something different, but let's see what you got.
A question did just come
Yeah,
in.
sure.
Do you
I'll
want
take
to
the
do that?
question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does Greg have any recommendations for my sister with the appendix issue? A polyp that can't remove without surgery. They can't remove without surgery.
And it's on the appendix?
Yes.
Boy. You know what I would probably do is I would start with tarragon into manu oil and then rub it on that whole lower abdominal area. Like daily. Could be at the end of the day, but daily.
Oh, nice. We actually have tarragon and tomato ointment on
Yeah.
the site.
I mean, lymphatic oils would work. And the other thing that you might want to look at is without essential oils, but doing like castor oil packs on that area. My first instinct would be tarragon and tumanu, but if you're going to explore some things, I would even look at the castor oil packs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then castor oil, I have recommended a sling with fasting for a few days. Along.
Yeah. Anytime you have any sort of growth or here a polyp or anything, stimulating the lymphatic system and the lymph nodes is always good. Bay laurel's good at opening up lymph nodes, but like sometimes when you want the lymph nodes to be like a little bit more aggressive, things like thuja and arbor vitae or arbor vitae, however you want to say it. Just even on the wrist or inhaled can be very stimulating to the lymph nodes and help with things like that. sometimes with things like that too, people can use Sylvester pine on the wrist, 4 or 5 drops on the wrist, but daily. But I would still, my first thing would be to go directly to the area, with the tarragon and tumanu. That would be my very first thing I would try.
And my apologies, I read it wrong. It was the castor oil I've recommended along with fasting.
Yeah, okay.
Just
And so we have, everybody's got like mugwort or CRC or,
CRC was the other one.
Mhm.
Okay, Artemisia.
yeah,
Did you say that?
Artemisia would also work.
Good.
Okay. So, we talked about this with Linda, so I thought we'd go down this rabbit hole. So you are inhaling the mugwort, artemisia, or chakra root cleanser, and your awareness is on your lungs. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on your lungs. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. You're still on your lungs. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. This will help with lower emotions and will help with converting lower emotions to the activation of the heart, this whole process. Yeah. And then your awareness is on your liver, right-hand side below your ribs. You're still on your liver, right hand side below your ribs. Now go to your midline, go 2 inches to your right below the ribs, and this is going to impact the gallbladder. It's not the gallbladder itself, but it will impact the gallbladder. Oh, so that's good. And go down to the kidneys. And then over to your spleen, left-hand side below the ribs. Mhm. And then just pause and be still. Pause, be still. Now, we all have an area, an ache, a pain. Like if we go back to what we were talking about with Troy, for example, we'd want to work on the neck. We'd want to work on each of his shoulders or down the arm, and then maybe even the diaphragm itself. So let's kind of focus in on something that's specific to you. So if you have an area that's bothering you, an ache, a pain, degeneration, if we look at Ralph's wife, where she had the injury in the knee, she could focus on the knee. If we look at Chris with her ankle, you could go to the ankle and then the whole lower leg, or even just the whole leg. So different people are going to be doing different things, whatever it might be. Focus on your area and then take nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just pause for a moment. And either go back to that area or explore areas around it. Or like if we look at, again, using Troy as an example, there's his neck, there's each shoulder, there's the arms, and then maybe even his diaphragm. So if he just did his neck, maybe he'd go to his shoulders. If Chris did her ankle, now she would do maybe her whole lower leg, right? Like if Ralph's wife did her knee, now she would do the whole leg, right? So continue that process. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths.
Because when I did that hip, my abdomen started to like
Mhm,
spasm.
Mhm.
So I moved to like the whole area there.
mhm. How's that feeling right now?
It's relaxing again. Yeah.
Maybe even put a little bit on your abdomen.
Using the mugwort, I broke into a sweat.
Maybe, I mean, it's probably just things moving and shifting, but I just maybe give yourself a break for a few, like 30 seconds or a minute or two. And then just pause and be still. Really.
Really?
Mhm. And you're just pausing and letting go. Let's just touch on the diaphragm, all of us together. So the bottom of the ribs from side to side, front to back. Put your awareness on the very bottom part of the ribs and your whole front, back, and sides of your body. Take nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just pause and be still. Okay. Mhm. Your awareness is on the front heart, the center of your chest. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. If you want to put a drop or two on the front heart, go ahead. And then just be still. Your awareness is on the back heart, the area between the shoulder blades. Nice, long, slow, deep breath. And just be still. All that feeling. Let's do the brain. Your awareness is on the brain. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And just be still and let go. Notice how you feel, your body, your emotions, your mind. We are going to move over to the Astara prayer, petition, blessing, and it's a way to do a little quick meditation, a little deeper healing. So join us if you can, and if not, you guys have a good Christmas. Some of you, I think I see you on the weekend on the solstice, and we have the 1-day class, and then we have the solstice celebration meditation Saturday night after class with Astara. And next week we won't be doing this because it will be Christmas Eve, but we'll be back on the following week. So, okay, you guys, take care.